Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to learn about this fantastic new grassroots campaign called Asbestos to Asparagus. I am not using my video as it blocks part of the slide so that you can see everything. Before getting into the weeds of the program, I'd like to first set the stage and provide some background information about an issue that affects the mental and physical well-being of a subpopulation of refugees decades after they fled their homeland. There are 10 Palestinian refugee camps that settled in northwestern Jordan after two major conflicts, the Arab-Israeli War in 1948 and less than 20 years later the Six-Day War in 1967. Of these 10 camps, the Jerash camp is by far the poorest camp with the most egregious living conditions. It also has the highest average household size of 5.8, where the average home is 1,000 square feet. The Jerash camp was initially established in 1968 as a temporary settlement with only 1,500 tents to shelter over 11,000 refugees from Gaza. Prefabricated shelters were later brought in by various donors for better protection from the cold winters. As months turned to years, concrete living quarters were constructed tightly together for a longer-term stay. At the time, asbestos was a cheap and readily available roofing material. To this day, about 65% of the households still have asbestos roofs, and there is no support from their host country to remove and replace them, as asbestos is not banned in Jordan like it is in many other countries. As the poorest Palestinian refugee camp in Jordan, with a very large margin between it and the second poorest camp, Jerash has other significant risk factors to contend with. More than half the residents live in poverty, making the equivalent of $1.25 a day. Nearly 40% of the men and 80% of the women are estimated to be unemployed. About 1 in 10 have health insurance, and only 7% have been granted Jordanian citizenship, compared to 75 to 98% in the other 9 camps. This limits employment, education opportunities, as well as legal rights and much more. All these risk factors directly and indirectly impact the mental health of Jerash refugees, and there are minimal resources and professional services available for quality health care for both mental and physical well-being. This isolated population needs significant help, but like many others in similar situations, the spotlight on them is very dim. This is where our campaign can help. The A2A campaign was developed to address two major health risks for the residents of Jerash. Each home with an asbestos roof will undergo a remodel. This is done by local carpenters safely removing asbestos roofs in a manner that prevents further exposure. After the hazardous roof is removed, a new one is erected that is strong enough to support a garden and made accessible with stairs. Through social media and crowdsourcing, A2A is funded by many donors, including Palestinian celebrities, such as hip-hop artist and producer DJ Khaled, hip-hop producer Fred Reck, and supermodel Bella Hadid. A2A was modeled after two successful programs. Greening the Camps is a campaign that provides rooftop gardens throughout all 10 camps. The Sonera project is supported by UNICEF and hires women to maintain and manage hydroponic greenhouse gardens in Jerash. Both of those campaigns are actually real. The expected outcomes of the A2A campaign are to increase protective factors and reduce risk factors for both mental and physical health. There is evidence that gardening is associated with mental health improvements. Additional results of A2A are increased employment, easier access to fresh food, social support, and education. The variety of plant life will add color to a mostly monochromatic community. The success of A2A's goals will be assessed by a variety of pre and post measurement scales. A baseline assessment of the mental and physical health of each recipient will be administered before construction starts. 6 months after completion, which should be enough time to grow and harvest food, the household will be given the same mental health surveys. It is our hope that there will be a significant improvement between the pre and post surveys. As for the physical health assessment, medical records and personal assessments will be evaluated years down the road. That sums up the Asbestos to Asparagus campaign. I hope you enjoyed it, learned something, and here are the references used if you'd like to learn more. Thank you.